Britain, a small island which built the largest empire in human history. The nation that gave us modern sport including football, rugby, cricket, and more. Home of the English language and the most famous playwright of all time, Shakespeare. Birthplace of Tim Berners-Lee, whose World Wide Web enables us to access all of those works, and more with the click of a button. The first industrialized nation on the planet with a long and rich history of science and innovation. It was Isaac Newton who discovered gravity, the fundamental force that every strong man and strong woman must battle with. It was Charles Darwin who described evolution, but it was evolution that forged these exceptional athletes.
Previously on Feats of Strength. Hathor Bjornsson breaks the deadlift world record with 501 kilograms. Luke Stoltman came so close to breaking the log press world record with 230 kilograms. Tom Stoltman destroyed his own world record with a 286 kilogram Atlas stone. Alexei Novikov sets a new giant dumbbell world record with 11 reps of a 100 kilo dumbbell in 75 seconds. Stay tuned for Rhiannon Lovelace, who will attempt to break the female Atlas stone world record.
We started with a can, added 200, no 250, no 300 milligrams of natural caffeine, extracted from plants. Yeah, plants. So you could do this, but not this. Vitamins B3, B6, B12, you're welcome. BCAAs, that just happened. Plus electrolytes, because sweat, and CoQ10, because we had room. And then we made it taste good, without the sugar. Now, go drink it. That's how we made Rain total body fuel.
Let's go. All the way up, go!
My name is Rhiannon Lovelace, pro lightweight strongwoman, owner of Chaos Strength Gym. I grew up in quite a small seaside town. I found love of maths and sciences, and it led to me getting heavily bullied all the way through school. Like more and more kids I'm seeing nowadays, I found a home in strength training. I found a place that welcomed me and accepted me for what I was capable of doing. In March 2017, I did my first strongman comp, and by November the following year, I'd broken my first deadlift world record and won my first title of World's Strongest Woman. Since then, I have won 15 of my last 18 competitions. I have records in the axle press, log press, more deadlifts, and the Atlas stones. I now train athletes from beginners to elites, and we travel the world showcasing what we can do. My name is Rhiannon Lovelace. I am the first female athlete of World's Ultimate Strongman, and I'm here for everything I was made for.
Welcome to the World's Ultimate Strongman Feats of Strength. It is Saturday the 6th of June. I'm here with the man himself, David Attenborough of Strongman. Big Laws, Lauren Shalley. How's it going, mate?
I'm very good, Mark. How are you?
Yeah, I'm doing good. Are we ready for today?
Yeah,
hopefully
so we're
we see
here.
a world record.
Another record hopefully going to be broken, and our first female athlete of this series, Rhiannon Lovelace, taking on an Atlas Stone hoist record. Tell everyone what the record is that she's going for today, Mark.
So she's going for Donna Moore's current world record in the Atlas Stone hoist of 161 kilos. She's going to build up from 140 kilos, 150, and then she's going to try and beat Donna Moore's current record. Rhiannon being a lightweight, Donna Moore's heavyweight.
Donna is a former world's strongest woman at heavyweight, and Rhiannon is a lightweight world champion as well. So this is a big step up for her. You know, she's one of the smaller girls that competes internationally, but extremely strong, very, very strong back. She has the current lightweight record for the deadlift, and she's a very determined young lady. So I'm looking forward to seeing if she can hit this today.
Yeah, me too. With the stones from Atlas Endurance, they've got the same sort of setup as Tom Stoltman, with a nice beam that they're going to be loading across.
So I'm gonna put you on the spot for this one, Mark. But is the platform the same height for the women as the men, or is there different set of rules?
It's a little bit different. It's 44 inches.
Okay.
For the height of the platform, from the floor to the top of the beam. The Atlas Stone itself is 19 inches.
Excellent. So we're going to go through the same process as we have each week. All the weights have to be weighed for the referee to see. Caesar Drunas Saviscus, our head referee again today. He will be giving the good signal if she can break the world record. I think they're
he's
just
always there looking on. Mean as ever.
Zadrunas looking mean? No, Zadrunas is never mean. Just he's probably the most laid-back strongman you will ever meet.
So the guys are just getting the first Atlas Stone weighed. I think we're going for 141 kilos for the first Atlas Stone. You can see Rhiannon there. As part of the rules, she is allowed a set of stone sleeves, weightlifting belt, a core support belt, knee sleeves. But if you notice there, she has a sleeve over a belt, which she isn't actually allowed to use for the world record attempt, but I'm sure Zio instruct her to take that off.
I'm glad you brought that. I was just going to ask you about that, Mark. So no, that's well pointed out. You see, a lot of these strength athletes will try every trick in the book. You know, I think I've tried all sorts of tricks in the past at competition, but when you're going for records, everything needs to be done properly. And we've seen, you know, when Luke was going for the log, Zadrunas was talking about his belt. He even picked up on the height of the dumbbell last week off the floor. So I'm sure Zadrunas is going to be very, very strict as ever.
Yeah, for sure. But I think she'll be using that just for her warm-ups, just to sort of set the mind. I know she was using that in training. I don't know if that might play against her when it comes to the actual world record, but we'll see.
Yeah, it's something I would always try and do on any record is use the same kit that I'm going to use on the record. So we'll see. I mean, she's a smart young lady. She's done extremely well, and she's a very young, athlete as well. She's already achieved greatness at such a young age. She had the highest deadlift at one point out of any athlete in the UK, female athlete. It was only recently broken by Andrea Thompson. For such a small frame, she packs a punch. She really does. She's a very, very powerful girl.
Pound for pound, definitely the strongest female, I think.
100%, particularly in strong woman.
Yeah. So you can see she's psyching herself up there in the back.
She's a feisty athlete. She's you can see she's on edge. She's kind of stepping around. She's on her toes. Yeah. She's keen to get this done. Last week we had quite a lot of waiting around with the dumbbell. She seems ready to go already.
Yeah. And I think this is our warm-up lifts. It's quite the contrast with Novikov combing his beard and making sure he's looking good.
So this is Chaos Gym we're at today, which is actually Rhiannon's gym. It's a really, really good gym. Actually, I've been up there to train myself. Absolutely perfect for someone involved in the strength sports. They've got all the strongman kit, lots of weights, lots of good, solid equipment.
A little strongman cave, I think it looks like that anyway.
It is. It was hard to find, and I asked someone very local. They didn't even know about it, and I was literally 1 minute away. It's only a small place, but it's very, very good.
So she's going up for the first stone.
So is this an attempt or a warm-up?
This will be a warm-up. The stone's on the right-hand side.
Ah, yes.
Nice.
Yep.
The nice clean ones.
Yeah. They look good.
So this will just be a little confidence boost, get the muscle memory going.
I believe that's her partner just behind. He's an under 105 strength athlete as well. Very good deadlifter.
So we're just finalising the angles, making sure we can see everything. So do you think it makes a difference with the smaller athletes? Obviously, the leverages are going to be different to the likes of Tom Stoneman with the albatross span. Obviously, Rhiannon being a smaller athlete, obviously the span of our arms is going to be a lot smaller. Do you think the technique changes, Laws, or?
It certainly makes it a lot harder. With someone like Tom who has that wingspan, he just finds it so easy to wrap those long arms around the stone. Rhiannon, she's obviously not got that kind of height. She'll need to squeeze harder. She'll have to work a little bit harder in terms of getting the stone high enough, even though the platform is lower. I mean, Tom's 6'9". He's a giant.
I want to ask about the records. Is this we will do 3 attempts?
Zadrunas there, just trying to confirm a few things.
Yeah, so basically, Z's just sort of making sure that there will be 3 lifts. Basically, the athlete has a choice of three attempts or 3 lifts. So Rhiannon shows the 140, the 150, and then the world record breaker 162. So
that's a huge stone for a man. Never mind a small lady.
Yeah.
That. I remember watching World's Strongest Man when the last stone was 140 kilos. Obviously, these days it's much heavier than that, but there's plenty of top-level strongmen that have failed to lift a 160 before.
Yeah, maybe we start from the.
And it's one of those bits of equipment that you need a stone to train for the stones, essentially, and to get a stone, it's hard to come by.
Oh, I remember when I started out, getting an Atlas stone was one of the hardest things to do. I was looking all over to get one. Eventually managed to find a way to make some molds online and ended up ruining my mum's garden with concrete trying to make an Atlas stone. As I remember my neighbor just coming around looking at me just going, nah, that's not going to work. But nowadays guys like Atlas Endurance, obviously they're making these stones for this, and they're really well made bits of kit. A lot more gyms have them now. They're a lot more accessible, and athletes are able to train I've seen some gyms that have them as light as 30 or 40 kilos, right up to, well, Tom Stoltman, I think, has got one of the heaviest in the world now at 300 kilos.
Yeah, that's in his back garden. It'll definitely not be collecting dust, I don't think.
That one, if it was in my garden, would be a very nice ornament. I've lifted some reasonably heavy stones before. One thing I will say is this type of lift, where it's just one stone, is much easier than, say, a run of stones in a competition. There's a lot of factors that play onto the stones. So you'll see certain athletes. I've failed a 180 stone in competition many times, but in the gym, under perfect conditions, when it's one stone, I've lifted a 225 kilo stone. So it is a bit more easier to do in this environment, but it's still a very, very heavy weight. And
yeah, it's okay. And also shows.
I think it's phenomenal. Yeah, I think that weight, especially when it comes to Rhiannon's weight and the sort of pound for pound aspect, it is phenomenal.
She's normally around sort of the 60 to 65 kilo mark. That's where she sort of hovers. Okay. So that's a small frame to lift such big. It's not just the weight of these objects. Well, it's the awkwardness. Yeah. There's no handles to hold on to. You'll see she's got the stone sleeves on her arm. That's to protect the forearms and stick the tacky to, which is the sticky kind of substance you put on your hands. It's basically kind of.
I want to do again.
It's sap from trees.
From the floor.
It just gives you a little bit of grip while holding the stones.
She's called it in.
She wants to
get
ready. I'm not sure what we're waiting for. Zadrunas seems ready.
I think they're just double checking the height again. 44 inches from the floor. I think Big Z just making sure each time he has these little.
So they've got their cameras so Zadrunas can see. You'll see on the computer screen. Zadrunas has a different angle to us.
Go up.
He wants the camera to go up so he can see.
He's just making sure that everything is bang on. It was the same with even Novikov's attempt last week. He wanted no more than 6 inches on that platform.
Yeah.
I think Tom's was a bit of an easy one for him, and then obviously with Luke's belt, there's obviously these little pointers that Z's pulling out, making sure everything's.
Well, Zadrunas knows every trick in the book. He's been involved in the sport for over 20 years at the top level. He really, he's seen it all before and probably tried it all himself as well at some point.
I wonder if he's got away with it a few times.
Oh, he definitely has. We've all got away with it occasionally.
There he is, making sure the trophies are in the back there.
Yes.
Yeah, he's just been posting about all his medals and trophies. He seriously has a collection.
Yeah, you can see there. That's Arnold collection in the back.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, 8
Arnolds. Yeah.
He in my book, he's always going to be the GOAT. Until someone can match his longevity, his records, his achievements, he has to be known as the greatest of all time.
So, Rhiannon's partner there, just making sure the sleeves are on nice and tight. One thing I'm against with the sleeves is if they slip and then it goes onto your bare skin, you have no grip, so there's no tacky on your skin. So just making sure they're super tight, they're not going to move during the lift.
There's so many tricks some of the guys use. I mean, I don't know if Rhiannon is, but I know guys that use kind of carpet spray on their forearms so that when they put the sleeves on, they stick in place, and then they'll put tape around the edges. They try and do everything they can to get every little advantage.
So Rhiannon's going to go for the first warm-up stone.
You can see how small she is. When we were watching Tom, he was just towering over everything.
Yeah.
Up to the lap. She just readjusts the hands. Nicely rolled up over her body. Good easy lift there.
Like an envelope in a post box. No problem.
Very good technique. hands right around the center of the stone, right underneath it. She'll row it up to her lap, knees under. One thing the athletes do as well is they'll squeeze their knees in. You don't want to have your knees kind of pointing out wide, because then the stone will slip down. So you'll see them push their knees in together.
No platform to get the stone on.
Lots of drive through the hips and the glutes, rolls the stone up her body, and then plops it over. Easy lift.
So hopefully that sets the tone for today on the next few stones. We'll see where she's at with this 141 kilos. And hopefully we see that world record today.
It'll be good to see.
We are a community dedicated to those who love fitness and food.
We have a mission to show that you can pursue your personal fitness goals and enjoy the process.
We are committed to creating a community where you can be and should be proud of your body,
no matter what stage of the fitness journey you are on.
From fat to fit.
Hit them PRs, make them gains, and eat that donut.
Join the brand, join the message, join the movement.
Hi, my name is Wus Feats, co-owner of Chaos Strength Gym. I've coached Rhiannon from the start of her Strongman journey. That was in 2017. We decided to sign Rhiannon up for a Strongman comp, kind of as a dare. That first comp as an under 64 kilo athlete was qualified for World's Strongest Woman. Rhiannon turned up to that competition, won it. So I think it was 6 months later we found ourselves going to America for Worlds. It was only a third ever competition at that point. She came top 10. It was then I realised the sky was the limit for Rhiannon in terms of her potential. And I was saying to her after the comp that she could win that comp in the next year or two. Fast forward to 2018, Rhiannon won England's Strongest Woman, Britain's Strongest Woman, Europe's Strongest Woman, set 2 world records in the deadlift, and she won the World's Strongest Woman in only her second year in the sport. Fast forward to 2019, she again broke the deadlift world record, bumping up to 260 kilos. She defended her British Strongest Woman title, her Europe's Strongest Woman title, and then we went back to Worlds in America. She was in the top 5 going into day 3, but unfortunately suffered an injury, forcing her to pull out. It was a really hard time for Rhi, both physically and mentally. Physically in terms of obviously recovering from the injury, but mentally in terms of probably not being able to finish a comp for the first time in her career. Unfortunately, Rhi is made of certain stuff. In 2020, she came back and became the first lightweight woman in the world and the first British woman of any body weight to deadlift 600 pounds in competition. With regards to prep for this record, her training's changed a lot. Obviously, Rhi normally deadlifts very heavy quite often, both because it's how we think works best for her, but also because she enjoys it. So pulling her away from that deadlift bar has been quite hard. It's probably the hardest part of this prep. We've been training stones twice a week. We've had one heavy session where we focus on just nailing the numbers to the specific height for the competition, just feeding the heavy stones. And a second day where we're working on more explosiveness, more height, and fine-tuning the more technical aspects of the lift.
So we're back for attempt number 2. We heard from her coach and her partner, Luke Davies there. She had a very decorated year. I think it was 2018, where she was England, Britain's, Europe's, and World's strongest woman in her weight category, which is phenomenal, I think.
She's absolutely dominated the sport in in the lightweight class, and you can see how proud Luke is there of her. They both live for the sport, both excellent lifters, and they've obviously been training very, very hard for this record attempt today.
So I think they're weighing the second stone, making sure it's bang on. We'll get eyes on for this one. Big Z just making sure it's leveled out. Stone gets loaded. So it's just over 142, yeah.
So this will be her first attempt. 142.2 to be exact there. Zadrunas checking it. Lovely looking stone.
Can I see number?
Now, one thing with a new stone, sometimes there's a little bit of a dusting, a coating on it. These ones actually look very, very clean and smooth, so I expect the tacky to stick pretty well.
Yeah.
They do look good. They look like they've been cleaned well. So everything should be perfect for this attempt today. Often that's an issue when you've got stones outside. A lot of people will train their stones outside. They leave them outside. They gather dust. They then become harder to lift. These look really nice and clean. They're going to be perfect. There's Luke just making sure he gets any excess dirt or dust off them. Rhiannon is pacing around. She's like a caged animal ready to go.
Yeah, she's definitely psyched up for it. It was one thing you noticed with Tom and Luke, they actually applied tacky to the stone prior to the lift, just because it was a brand new stone. They wanted to make sure there was a little bit of grip there, a little bit of grip to actually get the stone.
Yeah, you'll often see guys in competition, they'll go up to a stone beforehand and just swipe their hand against the where they're going to put their hands. You know, it just gives yourself that little bit of stick straight to the stone. It doesn't help a tremendous amount, but it just these little, percentages all make the difference. Be interesting to see if Rhiannon does the same. She's obviously thought about everything. She's got the grippy top on, she's got the sleeves, she's got the supportive shorts, knee sleeves.
I can definitely see she's getting a mindset on there.
I think this is her strength as well. She really seems to get switched on. She knows how to unleash every fibre of that body into these lifts that she does. She gets herself psyched up.
Yeah, and tightening up there.
Even things like this, just making sure that the sleeves are perfect every time, and having a supportive partner that knows what he's doing. Obviously, the fact that Luke competes as well makes things much more beneficial.
Yeah, and they kind of bounce off each other in terms of training and programming. It's nice to see that a couple can work together and sort of build each other up.
Yeah, definitely. I've tried to train my wife before. It's hard work. So she wasn't training for Strongwoman either. So there we go. He's getting the tape on for this attempt. That's like you mentioned before, Mark. They don't want the sleeve slipping when they actually, go for the stones, because that slip will just cause the stone to fall.
Yeah, they want to sort of leave no stone unturned when it comes to little errors like this. So
now, one thing she'll want is to go quite quickly once she gets these on, because you start restricting the blood, the sweat builds up, the blood restriction gets in the forearms and it can start to hurt. So she'll want to go fairly soon. I
see a lot of guys actually lifting with purely tape, and the sweat is the downfall their lifts. Sometimes it rips off, and
in hot climates, it's terrible.
Yeah.
Often Atlas Stones is normally one of the last events as well, so you're already hot and sweaty. You know, it's tough.
And then you've got World's Ultimate Strongman throwing in 10 stones.
10 stones. Well, I remember the first year when I actually competed in it, and we were competing for a long time that day, and then Stones was the last event, and I was drenched in sweat. You got to really make sure you're drying your arms off as much as you can. Because if you're not kind of sticking the sleeves on, then you're trying to put the tacky on sweaty arms as well, and that's just as bad. Here we go. She gets straight into it now. 141 kilos. This is a serious weight. It's like a 22 stone man, over 300 pounds.
Hyping herself up here.
And she'll lift it up to her lap. That's the first stage. Off the floor. You can see it's heavy, but she's got it up to her lap. Now she'll want to readjust her arms. Nice. Can she get it over? Excellent lift.
Good lift from Rhiannon there.
Really good lift there.
Fairly comfortable. I think the from the floor you could see that it was a heavy weight, but over the beam there she had no problem.
Very, very good lift. You can see, I mean, we've mentioned a few times now, Tom Stoltman is gifted when it comes to the physical attributes to be good at Atlas Stones.
Yeah.
Rhiannon isn't. She had to work hard for that. You could see, you know, her height. She can't just naturally get the stone up as high as someone like Tom, but she worked hard for it. Good effort off the floor, onto the lap. She readjusted the hands, plenty of power into the drive through the hips and glutes, and then she manages to get it over.
It's interesting as well because you can see half of Tom's torso as he loads it over, but Rhiannon disappears purely with the height. Yeah.
Look at, I mean, that's a huge stone. Look at it. It's way bigger than she is.
Crazy. An amazing feat.
She's having to work hard to get it onto her lap. Seriously impressive.
As soon as she gets it onto the lap, up and over is no problem for her.
We started with a can, added 200, no 250, no 300 milligrams of natural caffeine, extracted from plants. Yeah, plants. So you could do this, but not this. Vitamins B3, B6, B12, you're welcome. BCAAs, that just happened. Plus electrolytes, because sweat, and CoQ10, because we had room. And then we made it taste good, without the sugar. Now, go drink it. That's how we made Rain total body fuel.
Let's go. All the way up, go!
Are we getting the big one? We definitely are. We're bringing it out.
So that was a fantastic lift. Now we're stepping up to some serious weights. Zydrunas again, just looking on. Again, this is a quieter week for Zydrunas. Not so many, not so much for him to do. He's just making sure all the rules are adhered to, checking the weights, and he's there to declare a record if and when he lifts it.
Just making sure the scales are zeroed out, and then they'll get the Atlas stone on there and make sure it's bang on the weight.
So this next stone should be 152, is that correct?
Yeah, we'll double check it on the scales here. Make sure it's on the dot. Z is intensely looking in there.
I'm intensely looking. I want to see what they're saying.
Yeah, I'm interested to see. So she's got a good support team around her. There's a lot of them helping out, especially when you've got that tachyon. You're pretty much useless. Yeah, so just below
151.7. So the second attempt will be just shy of 152 kilos.
So she just took off her support equipment, which will allow her to breathe, catch her breath. Obviously, wearing that equipment around your waist is going to restrict your breathing. But it does definitely help when it comes to the lift in terms of core tension, the abdominal pressure. I think it's up to about 40% more abdominal pressure when it comes to the lift. So it definitely does assist her, but doesn't assist her breathing to recover. So she's whacked it off.
This is the really impressive thing about some of the lighter weight categories, and you'll know yourself, Mark. You're an excellent under 105 athlete. Us bigger guys are thicker in the midsection. Zydrunas, myself, Eddie, but even the slimmer guys like Thor, the width of their hips is just so much bigger than the lighter weight category athlete.
I think Big Z was the master of the power belly.
Oh, Zydrunas was incredible, and his stability on events was really noticeable, particularly on things like the log, but things like Atlas stones, moving events. I was always big and strong in the hips. It allows you to kind of handle more weight. So when you're taking a 60 odd kilo girl with such a small frame, they need that little bit of extra support. That stone is 150 kilos. It's, the weights are going to be absolutely crushing her. So just that little bit of support is needed, but like you say, it's hard to breathe in them. So she'll want to get out of it, get her breath back, get herself refocused, and then the belt will go back on, the straps will go back on, and she will be attempting this incredible weight.
Same with the sleeves. I think she's letting her knees breathe because it's cutting off a bit of circulation. I think when they're doing that, it's definitely doing his job.
Yeah.
She's confirming it felt good.
Yeah, she seems happy. She seems confident. And that was a great first lift. It really was. I wasn't convinced about her warm-up. It was comfortable, but the first lift she seemed to switch on a lot more for perhaps the quicker time between the reps. She wasn't waiting around as long. She felt a bit more warmed up. Now she's got to really step it up, though. This is It doesn't sound like a lot, 10 kilos. But when you're as small as she is, 10 kilos is a huge, huge increase. And I know from being, my own record levels, how much a 10 kilo increase increases the challenge.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. It makes all that difference.
The higher up the level you go, those increments, they just get smaller and smaller, but they get harder and harder.
Yeah.
So she seems relaxed. She seems confident. Now it's time to start switching on, though.
So she'll just be warming. Well, I think her nervous system will be warm now, actually, after that last stone. So she should be firing on all cylinders with this 151.
I need to double check, but I'm pretty sure she's deadlifted 260 odd kilos, which that's an incredible lift.
I think Luke was saying 600 pounds.
So 262 and a half.
Yeah.
That's
we'll be precise.
Yeah, we'll get the right numbers. She'll tell us off if we don't. But you know, she is an exceptionally strong lady. And we've already said that the challenge of the stones, it's so much different to lifting weight on a bar. If anyone's kind of gone and deadlifted 180 kilos before, on a bar with handles that you can hold, it's not so hard. You can pack that weight into a solid block with nothing to grab hold of. You have to stretch even further down. Your mobility needs to be good. Then you've got the awkwardness of it on your lap. You're trying to readjust, get those hands over. It's an exceptionally hard lift at the Atlas Stones. It's challenging, it's fun, but this is a serious weight.
The primal lift of Strongman, I think it is.
I think the kind of the stone lifting, it's such an old traditional test of strength, and that's why people love it. You know, it's been going on for years and years. It used to be a test of manhood.
Yeah.
Now we have these incredible young female athletes as well, proving that it doesn't matter about gender. If you want to be strong, you can be strong.
I think that's what Rhiannon tries to push, is the female aspect of it, and having that equality in the sport, and the sort of mental aspect of how she can channel sort of mental health through the sport. So Rhiannon's definitely a good ambassador for those two concepts.
The popularity of the female athletes is growing all the time now. There's more competitions, bigger competitions for them. There's different weight classes. Same with the men now. I mean, when I started, there was opens. It was so hard to be a strength athlete because you had to be a big freak of nature or you couldn't really do it. Whereas now you have the under 105s, you have the under 90 kilos. I've seen under 80, under 75 kilo even for the men's. We've got the different women's weight classes. There's junior competitions, masters competitions. So anyone out there that wants to get involved, find a strength gym, get involved. It doesn't matter where you start out. You know, it's a fun sport. There's so many kind of excellent ways of getting fitter and stronger, and it's a lot more interesting than going on a treadmill and doing 20 or 30 minutes of cardio.
We spoke about it before, the fundamentals of strongman. When you strip away the heavy weights, you just focus on the basic movements. It is such a good functional way of training for general population. Obviously,
100%.
when you start smashing the heavier weights, it becomes a bit more, you need to be experienced in order to do so. But the fundamentals, the fundamental movements are definitely great for strength and
We've
functional
both trained a lot of people, and I've had just, you know, middle-aged females that just want to get in better shape and get fitter, and they love doing a bit of farmer's walk or some log lifting, and you do it in a more kind of conditioning-based manner. It's a fun way of training. It's exciting. It burns a lot of energy. You're burning calories and having fun at the same time, and it just makes training so much more enjoyable.
So Rhiannon's going through a ritual there with her partner, getting everything set up.
So the psyching up begins. She's unleashing the inner beast. 151 kilos. She's going to squeeze as hard as she can. Pull that stone up to the lap. Come on, let's go.
Rip it from the floor.
She's got it up to the lap. She just needs to readjust, get herself into a strong position. There we go. She's got hold of it now.
She's got a good platform. Can she get the height to clear? She's got it up.
Come on, Rhiannon.
She's got it over. She's close.
Let's go.
She's hit the platform. She's so close.
Come on, push it.
Oh. And it slipped, and she's
all right?
She's jumped down there on her front. I think
I'm sure she'll be okay. It's you know, that blood
Just
pressure.
Gave the thumbs up. Yeah.
She's okay.
Thumbs up.
It's quite a scary thing to see when an athlete goes down like that, but she's okay. She's up. It's just that increase of blood pressure. There's so much weight crushing down on her chest and her diaphragm, just caused her to pass out just ever so slightly. But she's refocused, coming back for another
straight
attempt.
back in. Yeah, and she's took the belt off. I think this. She's rushing back into this one.
If I was her, I would have given myself a few more minutes.
She's told Luke to chuck the belt.
She seems ready. She's getting herself angry again. She's trying to recreate that fight or flight sensation to get every single bit of strength she has in that tiny body.
So mentally she'll be affected, but she gets it off the floor, and
you can see
the blood goes to her head, and she stumbles back.
It's another fabulous effort. You know,
A great effort.
That first attempt, she almost had it. And like we've said with some of the records so far, normally once you fail it on that first one, it's not going to happen that second time. You just expend too much energy. But still, to lift a 141 kilo stone and get so close to the 150, very impressive.
And you see the amount of effort she put into it there. She really fought for it. She got it up to the in line with the beam, and then almost dropped back down, and then regained the height, got higher, and then the blood just...
Yeah. And that's the difference. Say Tom, he has to lift it to waist height. She was having to lift it up to almost above her, almost neck height to get that stone over.
But a great effort, a great attempt. She definitely put everything into that. A phenomenal feat, regardless of even getting it off the floor.
She will be back, and she will get that stone. There's no question about that.
I think that the mentality of Rhiannon, for sure, she'll come back and she'll hunt down that 162.
She will indeed. She sets herself tough targets and she smashes them. You know, she's had
from
this
the
attempt.
Floor, from the floor, it seemed similar to the first stone, the 141.
She looked comfortable. She did the exact same thing. She had to readjust a little bit, but you can see how big it is on her lap. She can't get her hands over as far as she wants, and it's that size.
Disappears behind that stone.
Excellent power through the hamstrings and the glutes, squeezing through her chest and her biceps to hold onto the stone, readjust the hands. She just couldn't quite get it up high enough.
And we're going to hear from the strong woman herself, Rhiannon Lovelace.
Crazy, absolutely crazy. Yeah, we've been prepping for this in definitely non-ideal situations. Global pandemic, lockdown, obviously our business has been shut, but the team are just absolutely pulled together as much as we could. I'm over the moon. I think I'm a little bit, I don't think it's sunk in yet that was the world record, and we have a world record in Atlas stones now, and it moved as well as it did. Yeah, a little bit disappointed about the 150, but we knew this was such a long shot coming in this, adding 30 kilos to a season PB, and to get it like an inch away, it was, and then to get off the ground again, I'm more than happy with that. It's a long time before I finish with stones, definitely. The difference with the virtual audience instead of the big audience, yeah, you definitely feel it. The lack of music, we do have half a dozen here today supporting, and just kind of working the equipment and everything, but it's nothing like thousands and thousands of people, I usually struggle to hear my ref because you've just got thousands screaming at you. That definitely makes it harder to get ramped up, We have a lot more hoops to jump through. Obviously, we have to weigh the stones, and show the height, and we have to show everything's as official as can be. So yeah, it was definitely harder to open the adrenaline door than usual, but very happy, very happy. It's all part of being a professional athlete.
So what's next?
What's next for me? I'm actually going to go for the silver dollar deadlift world record, heaviest one ever done. I think he's just under 700 pound at the minute. Going to try and take that to close to 800 pound, if not 800 pound. And then back into the year will be winning my third British Strongman Women title and reclaiming my crown at Worlds. That's definitely the plan for the end of the year. And then we're going to try and work up to the big 160 odd January next year. We've not finished yet. This is just the start of my journey.
And any motivational speech?
Any motivational advice? Don't quit. Yeah. Any inspirational messages? Don't quit. Genuinely, it sounds really simple. Champions are made by their inability to quit. You will see people come and go. You will see huge potential come and leave. All you have to do is stick at it. Every day, stick at it. Regardless what's thrown your way, stick with it. You will get through it, and all that experience and resiliency will 100% pay off. Definitely.
Anything else, guys? So no hesitation at all there from Rhiannon, or sort of no doubts in herself. She will come back and she will go for that official world record Atlas Stone that Donna Moore currently holds. And she also mentioned there a 700-pound deadlift.
Crazy. She's got some big goals. It's great to see her still positive after that attempt, and she's got a big future ahead of her.
Yeah, it definitely shows her mentality. Anyway, that is us for today at the Feats of Strength series, World's Ultimate Strongman. Next week, stay tuned for Rob Kearney, where he's going to go for the American log lift record. And I think he might be putting Luke Stoltman on his toes with maybe a world record attempt. We'll
Definitely.
see. But from myself and Big Loz,
I'm looking forward to catching you next week, guys. Take care.
See you next week.